The Himalayan mountains have a lot of significance behind them, in their history, religious connections, and also geographically. The Himalayas are among the youngest mountain ranges on the planet, and consist of mainly uplifted sedimentary and metamorphic rock. According to the modern theory of plate tectonics, their formation is a result of continental collision, or orogeny, along the convergent boundary between the Indo-Australian plate and the Eurasian plate. The formation of the Himalayas involved the collision of tectonic plates, making the seabed rise into longitudinal ridges and valleys. This collision was so powerful that the Great Himalayas and the Tibetan Himalayas were formed. The lower and sub-Himalayas were formed by further collisions, and the ranges were raised, resulting in the structure of the Himalayas today. The Himalayas cross 6 countries: Bhutan, India, Nepal, China, Afghanistan, and Pakistan, with the first 3 countries having sovereignty over most of the range, and spans more than 1,500 miles, and is perhaps best known for Mount Everest. The Himalayas take their name from a Sanskrit word meaning house of snow, Hima meaning snow, and Alaya meaning abode. The Himalayas are an example of a natural barrier, potentially serving as a guard from invasion, similar to the Great Wall of China, as well as a border or a meeting ground of different races, cultures, and religions, and divides India and Tibet. Despite the climate of the Himalayas, the snowy slopes and green valleys are also home to some of the world's hardiest people, and is not an easy place to live. At higher elevations, thick snow can remain on the ground year-round, and temperatures may never rise above freezing. At lower levels, even summers can be cold and harsh. Soils are thin and rocky, and in many places the mountains form rain shadows, areas where the peaks block rain clouds, creating a kind of high-altitude desert. Still, people have found a way to live in these harsh surroundings. Indeed, the region is home to many peoples, from the Sherpas in Nepal to the Kashmirs in India. From the history of the region, the supposed original inhabitants of the Himalayas were the Kinars, Kilins, and Kiratas. Kirata is a general term in Sanskrit literature for people who lived in the mountains. Hindu epics and Puranas, ancient Hindu texts that can be described as a genre of important Hindu religious texts, give reference of their existence in the Himalayan regions. History also mentions the name of Khazas, believed to be a section of the Indo-Aryan peoples, and the Darids. But today, only 3 different ethnic groups from the Himalayan population reside in the Himalayas: the Negroids, Mongoloids, and the Aryans. Residents of the Himalayas have maintained centuries-old traditions of living in small, tight-knit communities. Their livelihood centers on agriculture, and they farm barley, wheat, and beans. Fruit trees are grown in lower altitudes. Some groups, like the Ladakhis, who live in the Ladakh region of the Himalayas, are also great herdsmen, raising yaks, sheep, and goats. The goats, in particular, are world-renowned for producing special cashmere wool, which makes particularly soft and warm garments. Not surprisingly, knitting and weaving hold a special place. While many men dress in simple dark robes called ganchas, women wear dazzling embroidered gowns and jackets of bright blue, red, and gold. Even greater finery is put on display at special occasions, such as marriages, which are marked by elegant dances accompanied by drums and flutes. Ribbons of silk float around the dancers, adding to the festive air. Chang, a local drink, is served in generous quantities during such events. The population of the Himalayan region is nearly about 40 million people, with improvements in communication and transportation systems improving the lifestyle of the people living in those regions. However, they also experience a clash of cultures as well as political strife. The Himalayas are home to several places of religious significance to 3 major cultures: Buddhism, Islam, and Hinduism. The Himalayas have profoundly shaped the cultures of South Asia, with many Himalayan peaks sacred in both Buddhism and Hinduism. For example, the Himalayas have been personified as the god Himavat, the ruler of the Himalaya kingdom in ancient India, mentioned in the epic Mahabharata, and father of Ganga, the river goddess, and Parvati, the wife of Shiva. Buddhism is said to have been founded in Bhutan, at the religious site of Parotakzang by Padmasambhava, also known as the Second Buddha. Regions such as the Ladakh region are where Buddhism is practiced. Ladakh is one of the few places in the world where Tantrayana Buddhism, a particularly pure and ancient set of practices, directs daily life. Included in this worldview is reverence for life. And while Buddhism is quite ingrained into the livelihood of a portion of the population of the Himalayas, it is most certain that we will be discussing Buddhism in greater detail at a later time.